Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to explain how you can block adult sites or malware sites from being accessible from your computer. While the topics are universal and don't have any restriction or any binding to time, today it is much more topical, especially since some of us are under lockdown with young children who cannot go out and need to occupy the time in some way or manner. They might be chatting to friends, might be surfing here and there, might be getting information in emails or being shared by schoolmates, etc. And so if you want to make your computer adult site unfriendly and malware site unfriendly, then stick on with this tutorial. Malware sites do not really apply only to children. Adults have the ability to choose or not choose whether they want adult sites, but malware sites, in my opinion, are universal in that no one wants to have their computer hacked, and by blocking malware sites, if you click a link in an email or you click a link on a web page, with these settings here, the likelihood of your computer being infected is diminished considerably. When we're under lockdown, our ability to fix a computer is limited, and so that makes it more important that our computer is protected. The information I am going to share comes from this blog, from the company CloudFlare, the company that is providing the service, and I will share the website, the URL, in the notes. So, before we start with the settings, the first thing I'm going to do is a proof of concept. And here you will see the screen fuzz up so that anyone who is out for an address where to get porn or to get malware cannot view it. So I'm going into a few adult sites and sites that are known to have malware, and even though you can't see the content, I assure you these sites are loading. So let's close this, and now we'll go to understand how to protect ourselves. So one thing I would suggest is that we need to take note of a couple of settings, and I'm going to use Notepad to do just that. So let me align a bit the windows so that we can have everything aligned. The first thing I need to do is to identify my network. I might have one network defined on my computer, might have many, but one of them is connected to the internet and allows my computer to speak with the rest of the internet. If I move my mouse onto the network icon, as shown here, I will get a name. In this particular case, it's Network 9, and I'm told that it has internet access. So I'm going to take note of this network. If I right-click on my network icon and I choose Open Network and Internet Settings, I am presented with a dialog box, and here again I am under Status. I am shown a graphic with a computer representing my computer, Ethernet 0 private network, and this globe representing the internet itself. And here again I'm going to take note of that setting. Now, from this dialog, I'm going to go and click on Change Adapter Options. So I'm going to click here, and another dialog box comes up listing the internet connections. I have two, you might have more, but if we look closely, you will see that there is one particular entry, Ethernet 0 Network 9, that matches my node. So that is the network connection I need to modify. In my particular case, I also have a Bluetooth connection, but the red cross on that indicates that this is disabled. Besides the point, with the notes I've taken here, I need to do nothing else. Now, move on to my network, right-click, and choose the option Status. Now, status tells me a bit more information about this network, and I have two settings of interest. I have IPv4, which, if you look closely, tells me this is connected to the internet. So I'm going to say yes. And IPv6, which informs me that there is no connection. So in my case, that would be a no. That's all I need from the status box. Yours could be the same. Likelihood is that they are, but if they are different, your yes and no would be different from mine. So I go back onto the network connection, and this time, rather than status, I'm choosing property. I get a dialog box, and in my dialog box there are two settings that correspond to my node here: IPv4 and IPv6. Now, in my case, since IPv4 is my internet connected protocol, I need to modify that. So I highlight it, I click on it, and choose property. Now, when I choose properties, I'm tiling a bit the boxes so that everything overlaps. I am interested in the bottom half of this dialog box, which allows me to specify what my DNS settings are. As a precaution, I would suggest, especially if you're under lockdown, that you take your phone and snap a photo of how the box stands at the moment. If you need to revert back because you've blocked the site, that ends up being important for you, rather than scurry all over the place to try to recall how it was before, you can refer to the settings as they were. After having taken your photo, you're going to make a modification. Now, in my case, initially it was obtain automatically. Now I'm going to enter values. Now I'm hopping back into my CloudFlare blog, and I'm going to decide which one I want. If I only want to block malware, I don't want to block adult sites, the settings for IPv4 would be 1.1.1.2, and the secondary DNS here referred to as alternate DNS would be 1.0.0.2. This is for IPv4. If, as I will show later on, you have IPv6, we'll be using this block. But I'll get to that in a minute. So, my case, I would enter the number here. If I wanted to block both malware and adult content sites, the 2 has to become a 3. So in my case, I want to block both, and I'm going to enter 1.3 and 1.0.0.3. I say OK. And normally, in my case, I'd stop here because IPv6 is set to no. So what I would have done is, having set it, I would simply close. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to show what I would do if this were IPv6. Very similar to what I did before. Choose it, properties, go into my blog. Now I want to block both. I would take this value. Having taken a snapshot of the settings before, I would alter them to what is now. And here I would have said OK. You can technically do it. So if I say OK, nothing will happen because in my case IPv6 is set to no. But for sake of accuracy, I'm just going to go cancel. Let's have a look at my settings. This is what I have in my case. So I say OK, I say OK. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to visit the sites that were accessible a few minutes ago. So I'm going to open a new tab. First of all, I'm going to visit a website that is neither adult nor malware. And I'm going to drop by Khan Academy. So as you can see, Bing came up. I have the link to Khan Academy, and clicking on Khan Academy, the website comes up. Now I'm going to fuzz out the screen and attempt to go into an adult content site. And as you can see, rather than the site coming up, what came up is an error informing that the page can't be reached. Why? Because by entering the DNS settings I did, when I tried to go to this website, which is fuzzed, went through CloudFlare servers, and CloudFlare said, no, this is an adult site. That DNS tells me I can't give you this address to where you want the site to go. And you get this. I'm just, as I did before, fuzzed out the address, but as you can see, the content can be reached. I hope this helps you, and both during the COVID and, in my opinion, irrespective of age or opinion, you should always block malware sites. And as always, I hope we stay safe, both in terms of computing and in terms of health. Thank you, and goodbye.